What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is Wrecked with another video today. So I did a poll in the community last night over on YouTube to find out what video you guys wanted to see next. Now, we talked a lot about dkoldies, but another big video kind of came up in the space and I wanted to talk about it. You guys wanted me to talk about the current state of retro gaming and collecting, and it just so happened that this gentleman here, known as RGT85, who's been a creator on the platform for literally years at this point, and I am a huge fan of him as well, made a video about his issue with retro collecting and retro video games today, and I kind of wanted to watch it with you and discuss and kind of dissect it through the video, and then I wanted to give you my take on the current state of retro game collecting and just retro video games in general. So if you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a like, but also I'm going to be leaving the link to this original video down in the description and a link to RGT's channel. I highly recommend you check him out. He is a damn good creator. I have a lot of respect for him, and I've been watching him for years. I found RGT around the same time that I found Wood Hawker from the Beat 'em Ups channel, and I still watch Wood to this day. I still watch RGT to this day. I love Wood's podcast, the Nintendo podcast with Bob Wolf. I watch that like all the time. I've actually seen every episode that's out. So I'm a huge fan of these guys, and they're all like buddies and they all know each other and they're all cool as shit. So definitely check him out if you haven't already. And let's go ahead and watch this. I want to get his perspective on the current state of retro gaming and his problems with it. And we'll go from there, guys. So thank you for hanging out. Let's do this thing.
This is probably going to make some people mad, and honestly, I don't care, because I feel like if you get mad at what I'm about to say, then you're part of the problem. You are part of the issue, because retro gaming in 2023, the retro gaming community has a major problem that for whatever reason everyone wants to
real quick, guys, just wanted to say that RGT like is a big retro collector, so he doesn't just do like modern stuff. So he's well aware and involved in the space. He has a pretty awesome collection, so just keep that in mind. He's not just some like modern gaming YouTuber who doesn't know anything about like the retro space. He's very much involved. He's been collecting for freaking years, longer than me. So
tiptoe around and walk on eggshells on. And it's something I've been thinking about
for
a while.
Look at that Blockbuster sticker on that Zelda. That is so freaking awesome. I love stuff like that. Leave it in the comments. But when you get video games or peripherals or consoles and they have like cool stickers like Blockbuster stickers or Hollywood Video stickers or whatever, do you take them off or do you leave them? Does it depend on the game or the item? Like if it's a crappy, ugly sticker, I clean it and take it off. But something like the Blockbuster stickers, like I leave those on. Let me know in the comments.
There's a particular instance that happened the other day that I saw, and I was like, this is it. This is the problem right here. It's not all these other things. And we're going to talk about the other things and how I feel about them, but they're not the problem. Okay, this is the problem. So is retro game pricing the problem? The retro game collecting scene? I don't think so. People have been saying, oh, the bubble's gonna burst, all these games are gonna be cheap again. No, they're not. They're not. Games will hit a peak of a price point, and then they'll usually stay around that peak.
I don't know. I mean, he could be right where, you know, retro games will hit that high point and they'll just kind of coast. I mean, it's kind of like the housing market, right? Like games are going to do this. You know, a couple years ago, Earthbound was like $400. Now it's down to like $250, $300. I've seen them go for. So it kind of fluctuates like any market does. Honestly, the only real dip I've seen is the sealed market. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but the sealed market was up here and now it's crashing and burning, and the values of stuff has come down drastically. So
stay around that price point because, you know, that's the top dollar that people are willing to take a gamble on. You're probably not going to find, you know, $5 NES cartridges anymore. You're not,
unless it's Madden. You will still find $5 Nintendo cartridges They're just really shitty games that nobody wants.
Not gonna find $5 N64 cartridges anymore, and that's okay. You know, it's a supply and demand issue. If somebody has something that somebody else wants and they put a high price tag on it, if somebody's willing to pay that price tag because they really want it, or maybe they're just not educated on the actual pricing of these things, that's what's gonna happen.
Unless it's dkoldies, don't you fucking dare buy from them. Sorry, I'm done.
You know, I look around myself. I look at this shelf over here. I look at this shelf over here, the half shelf over here because the top of it broke. And I just see thousands of dollars. Some of the prices of these games that I have are absolutely insane, absolutely ridiculous. Tripling, quadrupling from a year's time frame, stuff that's not even rare, but it's desirable, has a high price tag. And that could be something that's definitely.
Yeah, that's very true. I've noticed in the current state of the retro market that there are games that are really common games. Like, they're not like low print runs, they're not super hard to find, but they're really expensive. Like, a prime example is Earthbound. Earthbound's a common game, but it's a $300 cartridge. You know, Chrono Trigger is a very common game, but it's a $200 to $250 cartridge. Things like Sculptor's Cut on the N64, I understand because it was limited. It was a Blockbuster exclusive, and that one I get. But something like Chrono Trigger or Earthbound going for hundreds of dollars when it was an extremely common game, it's kind of baffling to me. I don't really understand the reason behind it. They're great games, but why are they so expensive? I mean, there's a lot of great games that are cheap. What makes these so different? Maybe you can tell me in the comments, but as far as I know, they're not rare titles. You know what I mean? So rare doesn't always mean expensive, right? So just keep that in mind.
Definitely very intimidating for retro gaming, but honestly, it's kind of part of the hunt. You know, that's something that a lot of people do. I used to like to do it, you know, when I was in my collecting stages. I definitely sort of came to a meet with God situation with my games, and it's like, do I even want all these games taking up space? But you know, maybe I'll thin out some stuff over the year, maybe I won't. I have so much stuff in totes, consoles, you know, rarities, all sorts of stuff. But to bring everything back, I don't necessarily think it's the pricing that's the big problem with the retro gaming community. So
price gouging is a problem though, and we've talked about that numerous times before. You know, and I'll talk about all of this in detail after we finish RGT's video about my personal opinion on the current gaming market. But I do think pricing can be a problem to a certain extent, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Oh, you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, well, I know what it is. I know what he's going to say next. He's a predictable person. He's going to talk about WADA and video game grading and how it's pretty much ruined a huge market of the retro gaming scene, because it used to be just people that didn't know anything about games thought they had gold with a, you know, a Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge, and like, oh, this is a $50 cartridge, people love NES stuff. It used to just be the commoners, the outside people. But when WADA came along, then it made people who were actually in the know, in the collecting community, start to think that everything they had was worth $1 billion because they could get it graded by an arbitrary grading system, which has been proven time and time again to be, you know, mediocre at best.
So I agree with RGT 100%. WADA is a problem. I don't know if it's the main problem, but it is a problem. There was a video that was covered by Pat the NES Punk and Ian Ferguson over on the CU podcast by a gentleman named Carl Jobst. I believe I'm saying his last name right. I will link Carl's video in the description as well, because I really want you guys to go watch it and check it out. And the reason being is Carl literally did like a documentary style video, basically uncovering the scammy bullshit practices of WADA games or whatever, the guys who grade sealed video games, and their coercion or collusion with heritage auctions, and how certain people that were involved with these companies were the ones buying these crazy expensive games to inflate the market. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's a fantastic video. Of course, Heritage and WATA have denied all of these claims, but from the outside looking in, it looks hella shady. Like, honestly, it really does. Like, you guys, they're the ones that were involved in, you know, the Super Mario 64 sealed going for over $1.6 million, or the first Legend of Zelda game selling for $800,000. And you need to watch that video. So again, I'll link Carl's video in the description below. You can also check out Pat and Ian talk about it on their podcast. I highly recommend doing that as well, because the sealed market is something we're going to talk about as well in this video, because it has definitely kind of screwed some things up, but I think that bubble is bursting as we speak.
They've done things like reproduction cartridges, bootleg cartridges. They now grade things like open games. It's not just sealed games anymore. They'll grade a literal cartridge. You know, if I was like, hey, I want you guys to grade my ESPN baseball tonight for the Sega Genesis, grade this for me, they'll do it. Because WATA doesn't care about anything. The only thing that WATA cares about, they're not in it for the hobby. No. They're not in it for the passion of retro game collecting. No, they're in it to make money.
100%.
That's all it is. That is literally all it is. These people do, you know, insider deals with each other to artificially inflate the prices of it.
There was a lot of shady shit going on too with the owner of WATA going to, like, appearing on Pawn Stars and stuff like that. Like, it's a total, I stay away from that, because it's pretty kind of like shady. I mean, I have a couple sealed games, but they weren't like I went out and bought them because they were sealed. They were just games that, like, for example, I have Wind Waker HD for the Nintendo Wii U, and it's sealed still because I had bought it digitally on my Wii U, and I had picked up I picked up this version at Walmart like years ago for like dirt cheap, and I just never opened it because I already had the digital version. Same thing with my Majora's Mask 3DS. The 3DS I had already had it preloaded on there, so I didn't see a point in opening it. And then I have a sealed Jurassic Park for the Super Nintendo, but that's it. I mean, and none of them are graded. I don't know if I'm against having it graded, but man, like, my whole thing is just inflating the market like that, thinking that games that are just so common are worth that much money. Like my sealed copy of Jurassic Park, like, you know, I would be cool if it was worth like $400 or $500, you know, because it's sealed, all original packaging. But do I expect it to be worth $10,000, you know, $15,000, $20,000, $1 million? No, absolutely not. But, you know, the problem is a lot of people think that they're sitting on a gold mine with these video games, because it is places like dkoldies, it's places like WATA that make, and I hate saying this, but the casual people that don't know the market or are really involved, that still have like RGT said, their Mario Duck Hunt in their closet, and they think it's worth $50, and it's not. It's worth like $10 on a good day. You know, it's companies like that like the normal people see it and they're like, oh my God, I can get so much money for my stuff. And then they start selling it for that, and then other people that don't know any better buy that stuff, and it's like a domino effect, a snowball effect, and it just keeps happening, and it inflates the market, and it causes an issue for everybody else who literally, they just want to play the games, you know, or they just want it for their collection. So that's, you know, a little bit of my like thoughts on it.
They'll give you a grading. Oh, this is a 9.6. This is a 9.4. This is a 9.2. Well, what does that mean? You know, how do you grade? How do you guesstimate what a graded game is worth when they're just saying that it has an arbitrary number attached to it? So the whole thing is ridiculous, and I absolutely hate it. And I think if like you get a bunch of graded games and like you're constantly sending stuff to WATA, like I don't know, man, that's just weirdo behavior to me. You know, get your money. I'm never gonna look down at you at getting your money, but I question who's buying it.
There is one thing in my collection that I want to have graded, but it's not by WATA because they don't grade, I don't think, this kind of stuff. I forget the name of the company that does the grading on like magazines and like comic books, like book type stuff. It's like starts with a C, I think. Let me know in the comments. I can't remember. I have to look them up, but they're pretty reputable. I have a 1988 Nintendo Power Volume 1 in immaculate condition. It was my uncle's. He gave it to me, and I've been sitting on it for years now, and it's put away. I don't have it out on display because I'm so nervous it'll get messed up. But that I would like to have graded, because it was, you know, it was, would I send every Nintendo Power in? No, but it's the first one. And if it was beat up, I wouldn't send it in, but man, it's in really, really good shape. And, you know, I'll show you guys on the channel sometime when I pull it out, but let me know in the comments, should I send that off to get graded? Is that worth it? I know people get magazines and stuff graded all the time, but I definitely think that that's one of my most prized possessions or crown jewels of my collection. And it's just a piece of history, right? The first Nintendo Power ever made is in my game room. Like, I would never sell it. Plus, my uncle gave it to me. It was his Nintendo Power. It has a lot of sentimental value to me. But I would like to see it get graded. Plus, they put it in that really like nice hard plastic like protective case to preserve it. That's another big reason. I mean, I could do that myself, I guess, but I think grading it would be cool. Let me know in the comments.
I question why people are buying up these graded games, because I mean, it's pointless to me. It's absolutely pointless. But I don't think WATA is the problem either. WATA is an issue. WATA is a problem within the community itself, but I don't think it's the main issue. Here's what the main issue is. Because like I said, there was an incident.
I'm curious.
It happened a couple days ago, and I was just like, holy shit. This is ridiculous. This is disgusting, and these people need a slap in the face. Not even a punch, just a slap. Because I feel like they're not worthy of a punch. An individual posted in a Facebook group that I'm in on Facebook. I used to be a part of a lot of retro when I was, you know, trying to collect stuff and looking for individual items and stuff like that, trying to make trades. I joined a lot of Facebook retro gaming groups. An individual posted a picture that he was very proud of. It was his two sons, probably, I want to say one was probably like 10 or 11, one was probably like 7 or 8, sitting down playing retro video games. And he was very proud of this. He was like, you know, they appreciate the classics. And you look at the comments. You look at the comments. Here were the top 2 comments.
And people are fucking assholes
to them and the most likes to them. The first one was, they're playing on a clone console? That's not how you play the games.
Okay. Gatekeeping douchebags.
They were playing on a Super Retro Trio. That's the first thing that you see. They're playing on a Super Retro Trio. That's not official. That's not the official way to play the game. They're playing on a clone console.
Who gives a fuck?
And people were like, yeah, they're playing on a clone console. What kind of father are you? And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know what the other comment was? The only way to play these games are on a CRT. You got to have a CRT, because they were using an HD television.
We've all seen or heard fucking people like that. Holy shit. Like, he's hitting the nail on the head, dude. He's 100% right. These douchebags are just gatekeeping fucking assholes. Fuck them. Who cares about them? They don't fucking matter at all. I mean, dude, it's all subjective, but like, just play the fucking games however you want to play them and enjoy them, dude.
Realized it's dorks, idiots, incels, and losers like this.
Best South Park episode, by the way. Make Love Not Warcraft. Fucking awesome. It's my favorite South Park episode of all time.
That are the problem with retro gaming, the gatekeepers. And I understand that there are some people that, you know, their whole thing is talking about the best way to play classic games, you know, with original hardware and stuff like that.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know, putting it out there and making people, you know, aware of better ways to play these retro games or the best ways. But some people, you know, either can't afford it because certain things are expensive. Number 2, some people don't want a giant 300 fucking pound CRT in their living room. They'd rather have a 70-inch 4K television. Like, this is niche, you guys. Not everybody has this shit. A lot of people don't. These types of TVs, unless you know or you really give a shit about the retro gaming scene, these are the types of TVs that end out on the curb with a free sign on them. Like, this is a niche. You know, most people don't have these. Most people are using flat screen televisions at this point in 2023. Let's be honest. Like, people haven't been using CRTs as a regular use for years. So no, if this gentleman wants to play video games with his kids and show them like the classic games that he grew up with or the games that he loves, not everybody's going to go out and buy a fucking CRT. And there's nothing wrong with getting something like a Retron 5 or a Raspberry Pi, or getting emulators on your computer, or buying a handheld like Ambernick or something. There's nothing wrong with that. The state of retro gaming, you want to know what it is? It's so fucking expensive that it's priced people out of the market. And people have to play these games however they can. They don't have a choice. Someone wants to play Chrono Trigger, they don't want to spend $250 for the game, $100 for the console, $50 to $100 for the CRT, hunt all this shit down just to play the game. Some people just want to play the game and they don't care about all that. And that's okay. I'm part of the minority, dude. Like, I just am, because I wanted this big ugly fucking TV in my room because I think it's cool. You know, I'm a big fucking nerd who went to the extreme, but there's nothing wrong with not wanting to do that. And to shit on kids and to shit on a dad who's proud to have his kids playing the classics is fucking bullshit. And RGT is 100% fucking right. And that is a huge problem, is gatekeeping. Don't tell me how to play my fucking games. Fuck you, motherfucker. Who the fuck are you? Right? If it makes you happy, you guys, play the fucking game however you want to fucking play it. However you can get your hands on it. Except robbing a game store. Don't do that. Please. Just, be chill. Be chill. But seriously, RGT is hitting the nail on the fucking head right now.
I get that. That's fine. That is a more niche thing. But when we're talking about two kids playing some retro games that their father got them on a clone console on an HD television, and that's a problem. You're not saying, oh, good job raising your kids, teaching them about the classics. No, you're bitching about how they're playing these games. I swear to God. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know why they're playing on a Super Retro Trio? Because it plays 3 freaking systems at the same time.
Which is convenient.
You don't have to get HDMI modded NESs and Super NESs and Sega Genesis in order to play on an HD television. To the CRT dork, all right, you freaking moron. When you were a kid, you were probably playing on an RF adapter on a CRT TV, and it looked like dog shit. All right, it looked horrible. You could barely make out the images.
RF adapters do look like shit. Just saying.
But now you're all high and mighty because the kid's got to play on a CRT. The kid's got to play on this. The kid's got to stop it.
Another thing you have to remember too is like this CRT right here, this 36-inch Sony Trinitron that came out in the late 90s. Like, this was top of the line back then. You know, it was really expensive. Not everybody had this fucking CRT. Some people just had like little 13-inch shitty CRTs in their house. So not every CRT looks really good. I will say the picture on this is phenomenal for retro gaming, but not everybody had this, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind.
I don't care if you have a RetroPie. I don't care if you have an emulation device. I don't care if you're playing on original hardware. It's about the games, man.
It's about the motherfucking games.
Playing the games. And yes, there are different ways to experience them. Some of them are more expensive than others. But quit being a stupid dork gatekeeper. Like, imagine, if you will, like, that's something you do in life. Like, you have so much free time in your life that you're scrolling through your phone and you see someone, a father, post a picture of his kids playing some retro video games on a Super Retro Trio on an HD television. And the first thing you think is, you know what, I gotta talk shit about this because they're not using original hardware. They're not on a CRT TV. You freaking dork. Go outside. Get a hobby. Jesus Christ. You know what, people? Just be better. Just be better. If people want to play on emulation, fine. They want to play on Raspberry Pis, fine. They want to play on a clone console, fine. They want to play on original hardware, fine. They want to seek out how to play original hardware the best way on televisions, fine. There's room for everyone in this.
100%.
Could
Preach.
be a friggin'
fucking preach,
weirdo
dude.
gatekeeper with retro games, because that's the problem with the hobby. It's not the prices, it's not WADAs, it's not this, that, and the other. It's some of these people, and these people need to start being called out. These people need to start feeling uncomfortable and feel like idiots, because they are idiots. They are idiots. That's all I have to say about this. Be better in 2023. You see some little kid playing an old game on, you know, on YouTube or something, support them. Be like, good job, Junior. You know, good job. You're playing some of the classic.
That's how you keep the hobby alive. That's how you stop retro gaming from dying, right? Is that you prop up the next generation of creators and video game players, right? You don't shit on them, right? You help them. You guide them. You don't be a fucking asshole. Straight up, dude. 100%.
You see someone asking a question, be nice. Don't be a dick to them for no absolute reason. Because I'm watching. I am watching you. Friggin' dorks, man. Just, it pissed me off so much. It pissed me off so, and I don't know if it was because like that was one of the first few days that I wasn't smoking cigarettes, but holy crap, I made a tweet about it. Follow me on my socials if you don't follow me. But
yes,
that's the
please
problem
follow him. 100%, guys.
That's been the problem for the past 5 years. Is these elitist dorks who always have to have an opinion on something. Shut up. Play your games that you want to play the way you want to play them, and let other people play them the way they want to play them. That's all I gotta say. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you get mad at me, you're probably one of those people who likes to chastise others. Later.
Okay, so I loved this video. His take was 100% on point. We all know the three main things he talked about. Pricing has gotten really, really high, and it's made it hard for people to collect. WADA and their scandal, or places like dkoldies, who are literally like scamming people, and the gatekeepers who think that they fucking own the space. These are serious problems in the retro gaming community. When at the end of the day, in hindsight, it's about the games, and it's about our love for them and our nostalgia for them. And when people are trying to like take that away from you, it sucks. It really does suck. And I'm at a point where I know there are some people that are against emulation, but in today's market, why? Not everybody can afford these games. That's just reality. I am 100% okay with emulation. Emulate the fuck out of whatever game you want, because they're so damn expensive, dude. Like, if you just want to play games because you love video games and share it with your family and your friends and your kids and your wife or your husband or your partner or whoever, do it, man. Fucking do it and enjoy it. And don't listen to what other fucking people are telling you, because when you become old and gray and you're on your deathbed and you look back in your life and you realize that you let everybody else dictate how you lived your life and what you did for fun, you're going to regret it. Don't fucking regret it. Don't let these people tell you how to play fucking video games, man. Video games are meant to be fun. They're meant to bring people together, not tear people apart. Stop fucking gatekeeping. Seriously. Like, this is, like I said, this is the extreme. This retro fucking setup that I got with the CRT and all the original consoles and hardware and crazy adapters and modifications and shit that I've done over the years. Like, not everybody wants to do that, man, and that's okay. I would be stoked if I see one of my friends and their kids like doing this, you know, playing the original Mario Brothers, playing Yoshi's Island, you know? Like, that's cool to me. Like, my daughter, she's 2, and my kid means the world to me. And I literally have been showing her retro video games already. And we watch old cartoons like this right here. You know, My Little Pony on VHS, right? Like, we have VHS players in almost every room in the house. Doesn't mean I don't have Blu-ray players, DVD players, Netflix, all that stuff. I have modern stuff too. I have old stuff, modern stuff. I love it all. It's all entertaining to me, you know? But like this right here, I bought this for my daughter for Christmas. I got her a Sega Pico, because this thing is awesome. It said it was from ages 2 to 8 years old. And let me see if I can open it. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I bought her this thing because it's neat and I thought it was cool. But you know what else I bought her? I bought her a Switch Lite too. Video games are just meant to be fun, you guys. Have fun, enjoy them, play them with your kids, your families, your friends. Enjoy your freaking life. And fuck everything else. That's all that matters, dude. So like, for me, I think one of the problems that started was COVID. Started the inflation of the prices. Because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you could get a stack of games for fucking pennies on the dollar. But what happened was, right, is when COVID hit in 2020, everybody was forced inside their homes. You couldn't go out. Businesses were shut down. You couldn't go have fun. You couldn't go to restaurants, movie theaters, bars. You couldn't do any of that stuff, right? So people were trapped in their houses. And what did everybody start doing? Everybody became a YouTuber. Everybody became a streamer. Everybody thought that they were going to be a new home designer and do DIY projects in their house and remodel their kitchens. Everybody was going to become a gym rat and build home gyms in their houses. And people were digging out their retro video games and their board games out of their closets. And because people were bored and trapped in their houses. But then stores like dkoldies or certain resellers were preying on that nostalgia or people's need for these things because they were trapped in their houses. Do you remember like when a pair of dumbbells or a weight bench went for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because they were, you know, supply and demand, like inflating the market? Like these people want a gym in their house, so I'm going to charge, you know, $500 for a set of dumbbells that are all rusted and beat up. And people were buying it because people were desperate for something because they were stuck in their freaking house with no human contact. So the same thing kind of happened with the retro market. Is people were digging out their old video games and playing them and selling them, and people wanted them so bad that it sparked, like it like reignited this like love for these things, and people wanted to revisit their childhoods, and a lot of people capitalized on that. A lot of people took advantage of that, and it started raising the prices on these things, right? And I don't know when or if these prices will ever come down. They probably will as certain consoles get older and older, but right now Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, PlayStation 2, they're all hot right now, man, and prices are going up, and some have stabilized. But the next issue I wanted to touch on was, you know, the sealed market. There's nothing wrong if you want to have sealed games, if that's your thing. But I think the problem is this grading system that WATA has come out with, where they're selling games for tens of thousands or millions of dollars that are common games. Super Mario 64, I have it right there, like complete on top of my TV. $1.6 million because it has cellophane around it. Like it was like literally one of 2 launch titles for the Nintendo 64. And you're telling me that it's worth that much money? No way. No way. 1.6 million. But everything, if you look, everything is tanked. Everything has like drastically tanked. So I think that that's a problem, that people see prices on dkoldies or prices from sealed games from WATA, and the fact that WATA is grading open stuff now. You know, people that are casual players or normal people are the ones that are like, oh, I'm sitting on a gold mine. And you even see it, honestly, guys, you're like, well, you know, it shouldn't affect the market, but it does. Go to like a flea market, okay? And yeah, you'll still find deals at a flea market once in a while, but a lot of people with video game booths at the flea market are selling these games at or above eBay prices at a flea market, where you're there because you're getting rid of shit and you're supposed to be giving good deals, but I'm still paying a crazy amount of money for video games that shouldn't be the case at a flea market. Even local thrift stores in my area know that video games are hot, so they pull certain games aside and look up the prices and sell them in a thrift store for eBay prices. I've seen it in my neighborhood. It's absolutely crazy to me, and that's the issue. Is the guy who owns the thrift store, guarantee you that guy doesn't know shit about retro video games, but he looks up the prices on eBay or places like dkoldies, and there goes the price. He's gonna sell it for that much money in his thrift store, where it was donated to him anyway by people that didn't want this shit in the first place. So that's what I'm saying. It does affect the outside world. It does affect the market, and it sucks for people. But guys, before I end the video, Again, please go check out RGT85. Solid guy. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like, please consider subscribing to this channel. I will be working on more content. I am live streaming on YouTube this Saturday. What is the date this Saturday? Hold on. It will be the 14th. Yep, January 14th, I will be streaming. We're doing like a podcast top tier list kind of thing where we're going to rank some retro consoles. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, do what makes you happy and fuck everything else, and start doing for you and your family and putting that first. Don't let these gatekeepers dictate how you have fun. That's weird. That's weird that people do that. So again, this is Wrecked. Thank you all so much, and happy hunting.